Let's get right into it. Number 10. The desert that hides a city. Imagine walking through endless sand, heat shimmering, nothing but rocks and regret, then suddenly realizing you're standing on top of an entire city. That's what happened in Petra, Jordan. A massive ancient city carved directly into red sandstone cliffs, complete with temples, tombs, and advanced water systems just sitting there, quietly, for centuries. What makes this creepy isn't just that it was lost, it's that it was known and then forgotten. Petra was once a thriving trade hub. Tens of thousands of people lived there. And then roots shifted, empires collapsed, and the desert slowly swallowed it. By the time Western explorers rediscovered Petra in the 1800s, locals had myths about it, but no living memory of its purpose. Historians can explain how cities get abandoned. They can explain erosion and cultural collapse. What they can't fully explain is how something so massive can vanish so completely that it turns into legend. Basically, the desert doesn't erase things quickly. It erases them patiently. Number 9. Perfectly preserved ancient bodies. Deserts don't just hide things, they preserve them too well. In places like the Atacama Desert and parts of Egypt, archaeologists have found human bodies thousands of years old, naturally mummified without any embalming. Skin intact, hair visible, facial expressions frozen. This happens because extreme dryness halts decay. Bacteria need moisture to do their thing, and the desert says, no. The unsettling part is how human they still look. These aren't skeletons. These are people who look like they could wake up annoyed that you're staring. Scientists can explain the chemistry perfectly. Low humidity, high salt content, rapid dehydration, all logical. Still doesn't stop your brain from screaming, that person shouldn't still be there. Basically, the desert doesn't just bury history, it puts it on pause. Number 8. The Nazca Lines. From the ground, they look like nothing. Random grooves, scratches in the dirt. From the air, massive geometric shapes. Animals, perfect spirals. Lines stretching for miles. The Nazca Lines in Peru were created over 1,500 years ago without aircraft, drones, or any way to see the full design while making it. Some lines are so precise they barely deviate over kilometers. And they've survived because the desert barely changes. Scientists believe they were ceremonial or religious pathways. Maybe rituals, maybe astronomy, probably not aliens, sorry. But here's the strange part. The people who made them likely never saw the full images. They built something monumental that only future humans or gods, depending on your beliefs, could fully appreciate. Basically, the desert is full of messages written for an audience that didn't exist yet. They built something monumental that only future humans or gods, depending on your beliefs, could fully appreciate. Basically, the desert is full of messages written for an audience that didn't exist yet. Number 7. The Ancient Batteries. In the deserts of Iraq, archaeologists uncovered clay jars dating back nearly 2,000 years. Inside them, a copper cylinder, an iron rod, and traces of acidic residue. Together, these form something suspiciously familiar. A battery. They're known as the Baghdad batteries, and if you recreate them with vinegar or wine, they produce a small electrical charge. Not enough to power a city, but enough to electroplate metal or perform basic experiments. The creepy part isn't that ancient people were smart. We know that. It's that this knowledge seemingly disappeared. There's no clear record of widespread electrical use, no continuation, no technological lineage. Historians argue about their purpose. Rituals, storage, coincidence. But no explanation feels fully satisfying because the components line up too well. Basically, the desert may be hiding evidence that human progress isn't a straight line, it's a loop with amnesia. Number 6. The desert glass from the sky. Scattered across the Sahara are chunks of Libyan desert glass, beautiful, translucent, yellow-green glass. Here's the problem. Sand doesn't turn into glass without extreme heat. Temperatures higher than volcanic lava, higher than most natural fires. Scientists believe it was created by a massive meteor airburst around 29 million years ago. An explosion so intense it flash-melted the desert surface into glass. That alone is wild. But some of this glass was later used by ancient Egyptians in jewelry, including a scarab placed in King Tutankhamun's chest piece. Which means humans found evidence of a cosmic catastrophe and turned it into fashion. Basically, the desert contains souvenirs from space disasters older than humanity itself. Number 5. The Skeleton Lake in the Desert. High in the Himalayas, surrounded by dry, harsh terrain, there's a lake called Rupkund. When the ice melts, hundreds of human skeletons appear around the shore. For years, no one knew why. Eventually, scientists discovered many skulls had blunt force trauma likely caused by a sudden, deadly hailstorm centuries ago. People caught in the open with nowhere to hide were killed almost instantly. The coincidence? Genetic analysis showed the bodies came from different groups, arriving at different times, meaning this lake killed people repeatedly, across generations. Basically, the desert doesn't kill once. It waits. Number 4. The plane that shouldn't be there. In the middle of the Sahara Desert, explorers stumbled upon the wreck of a World War II fighter plane, remarkably intact. Not buried, not torn apart, just sitting there like it landed yesterday and everyone forgot to come back. It was a British P-40 Kitty Hawk that crashed in 1942. The pilot survived the crash, walked into the desert to find help, and was never seen again. What makes this unsettling is how preserved everything was. Maps, ammunition, parachutes, even the pilot's radio gear. The desert's dryness slowed decay so much that time basically stalled. Scientists can explain the preservation. Low moisture, stable conditions, minimal human interference. They can't explain how quiet it feels. Like the desert pressed pause on a moment of panic and just left it there. Basically, the desert doesn't just erase history. Sometimes it keeps it exactly how it was. Number 3. The mysterious desert circles. Across deserts in Namibia and Australia, there are strange circular patches of bare ground called fairy circles. No plants grow inside them, ever. They appear. They last for decades. Then they vanish. For years, no one knew why. Some blamed termites. Some blamed plant competition. Some blamed underground gas. The theories kept changing. Recent research suggests termites might play a role, but even that doesn't explain the perfect spacing, long lifespan, and synchronized behavior across huge areas. What makes it creepy is that these circles behave like a system. Not random damage, not isolated events, a pattern. Scientists can model them mathematically. They can reproduce similar effects in simulations. But in real life, the desert keeps drawing circles like it's marking territory. Basically, the desert makes crop circles without crops and without asking permission. Number 2. The ancient footprints that shouldn't exist. In the White Sands Desert of New Mexico, researchers found human footprints preserved in dried mud dating back over 20,000 years. That's thousands of years earlier than humans were supposed to be in North America. Even stranger? The footprints show adults and children walking together, stopping, turning, carrying loads, living life. This discovery forced scientists to rethink migration timelines entirely. Not a small tweak, a massive rewrite. The desert preserved a moment of ordinary human movement so well that it survived ice ages, erosion, and time itself. Basically, the desert kept receipts when history tried to erase the evidence. Number 1. The bodies that refuse to disappear. In the Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, archaeologists have found naturally preserved bodies, from cultures older than the pyramids. Some are over 7,000 years old. Skin, hair, faces, still there. No embalming, no tombs, just extreme dryness halting decay completely. The bodies look less like ancient remains and more like people who stopped moving. Scientists can explain how it happens. They cannot fully explain why it feels so wrong to see time fail like that. Because decay is how we understand death. When it doesn't happen, your brain doesn't know what to do. Basically, the desert doesn't just hide the past. It refuses to let it go. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.